Power BI, the beginner series. Today we're going to talk about the filters pane, and you're going to be using the filters pane a lot. We're going to talk about filtering on a visual, filtering on a page, filtering on all pages, show you how to get the filter pane up on your screen from the view menu, and take a look at those options that have recently changed in Power BI regarding the filters. Of course, filters give you the capabilities to filter by the top N, basic filtering, advanced filtering, and filtering on visuals. Let's take a look at filtering. This is something that you'll want to learn when you're doing your reports and working on your visuals. You're going to want to know all of the different options for filtering, what's available. Let's go to Power BI. Back in Power BI, this time around, we're going to take a look at some of the filter functions, what it means to have filters on a page, filters on all pages, and also where to find the filter section in Power BI. So from the home page of Power BI, we currently have a page set up. I have some different visualizations so we can walk through some of the different filters. Now, you notice on the right-hand side, we have a format pane, and you have a filters pane. And the filters pane is what we're going to concentrate on here. And if you've never been able to get rid of the format pane, you can do that by clicking on this X. And then you can click on the X for building a visual. And now you have your data. And you get to that by showing, if you go to the view pane, you can have your different pane switchers. You can have the format pane. You can have bookmarks. Now it's not showing. Now your bookmarks is showing. So we'll take off the bookmarks and we'll take off the format and we'll X out the data. So that means we have more space on our screen, and all we have now is the filter. And the filter pane, we can even make this bigger by dragging this to the left. So we'll make this a little bit bigger so you can see some of the different options for the filters. Now, when you get back, when you unclick on none of the visuals, you have two options. You either have a filter on this page or a filter on all pages. So in this example, we already have these graphs and they are populated. If we want to create a filter that applies to all of the visuals on this page, we will click on the Add Data fields here. And what this will do is we can add the data pane, and we will bring in all of the sales by country. So we'll click on country. We'll delete that. Actually, we're going to click on the country into the filters on this page. Now, if we want to filter it by Canada, we click on Canada and everything on this page changes. If we uncheck, it goes back to everything. All of the data is showing. If we want to select USA, we select USA. So that is an example of filtering on the page. Every visual on the page is impacted. Next, we can do a filter on all pages. So we have 8 or 9 pages in this report. And if we wanted to filter by the country on all pages, we could do that as well. So if I choose Canada, now this page is filtered by Canada. And if I go back to the market share page, it's also filtered by Canada. So that is an example of all the pages in the report. If I go to the manufacturing page, all of the information is filtered by Canada. So that's an example of filtering on all pages. So we're going to remove that by clicking on the X. That will remove filter. Your dialog box comes up, it says remove filter. So we'll remove that filter, and then if we go back up to on the page, we will click on the X to remove that filter. So that is how you clear and add filters to the page or to all pages. Next, we're going to work on some visualizations. So if we click on this visualization, now our dialog box comes up for filters on this visual. And we can choose filter by date, month, quarter, and year, because currently in this visual, that is what the x-axis includes, the date, year, quarter, month, and day. So that is why we have those options. So on this filter, if we want to filter by a year, we go to basic filtering, and now on this one visual only, we will choose 2018, and that will filter that visual for just 2018. If we want to filter for 16, 17, and 18, we check all three of those. Now we have 2016, 2017, 2018. So that is a filter by the year. Now, if we want to see a month within that filter, we can select February, and now we see just the data for February in 2016, 17, and 18 on that visual. So we'll uncheck that, and now we're back to the all on that visual. And we can collapse that filter card to get back out. Now for the year, we can also go down and collapse that filter card. So now if we want to filter that visual and see only the Leo revenue by year and manufacturer, if you notice, the legend has all of the different manufacturers. So we can choose Leo, and we can see their trend, 2016, 17, and 18, flat in 2018 over 2017. We could also compare that with Barba and see that for 2016, 2017, and 2018. So you do have some advanced filtering options. So we can show items when it starts with or ends with or is blank or is not empty. If you have some data that is empty, you can also do some advanced filtering. So on this one, we're now going to choose this visual, and we are going to work on a different filter function. So we're going to leave this as all, and we're going to go back up to this visual, and now we are going to filter by adding the additional filter. And let's say if we want to filter by a country on this visual. So we add this country, and now we can bring in Japan, and this has just Japan only on this visual. So that's another option to filter by a country. And you could also bring in a product. So if I wanted to bring in a product, we could bring that as another filter and search just by Abyss MA01. So that's too small to see. There was only one. Let's actually go to a segment. If I delete that product and add the segment, now I can bring in the all season segment, and we have all season, and we have the other filters on just this one visual. Then for this visual, we currently have all of the dates, and for this visual, we currently have by year, but we could also bring in, on this visual, we could add the segment to this visual, and we could bring in all season, convenience, or extreme, and see the different measures for percentage growth. Or we could look at it as just all season for 2014 all the way through 2021. So these are some of the filter options. You know, the best way to learn all of the different filter options is to try them and filter on visuals, filter on pages, filter on all pages. But again, you're trying to design a report that is usable for the end user, and you as the Power BI developer, you want to make these visuals so that they can get and analyze their data easier and break down some of that data by filters and using the page filters and the visual filters. That is a look at the filter function in Power BI.